Good morning. It's 4 a.m. and I'm finally leaving to go pick up a jet ski I bought several months before recording this and almost a year before I'm finally uploading this. This was recorded between November and December of 2024, and I did use some of the footage back then to tell the story of my ever-growing jet ski collection, but the other story that never got told was that these were the last road trips I was ever going to take in my favorite little truck, whose life with me coincidentally started with a road trip. So go get your comfy pants on and have a pee bottle handy. It's time to put down some miles.
The truck is a 1999 Toyota Tacoma base model. I got it in June 24, 2012 with 187 thou on it, and that same day my dad and I loaded it floor to ceiling and pointed it east to Atlanta, where I was going to live for the next 5 years. I mostly rode motorcycles out there, so I ended up putting about 20 thou on it, but in 2017 we moved back, ended up putting 15,000 miles a year on that thing.
The first of these road trip stories begins by purchasing 2 jet skis in California, and on the day before I was set to drive out there, the head gasket let go on the way to fill up. This wasn't the first or even second head gasket I'd done on the truck, so it wasn't intimidating, just inconvenient. I was able to get all the parts and do all the work in one weekend, test drive it to work all week, and floorboard the thing to California back the very next weekend.
Did you ever lie, ever wonder why nobody believed you, honey? What a pretty smile drive the people wild, wonder who ran off with the money. Do you ever change, is it gonna rain, will it bring you pennies from heaven? Do you know the score, are you waiting for anxious for the new Armageddon? Go, get it up, get it down till you hit the ground. Come a rude attitude from the world around. Say, shall we see, shall we disagree? Say it all in the name of tragedy.
There they are. It was a long trip. Just under 800 miles and 16 hours of driving.
The next jet ski I needed to pick up was 3.5 hours away in Fort Mojave. Confidently and correctly assuming if my repair was going to fail, it would have done it already, I figured the best thing that truck needed was a long road trip. Now, I didn't anticipate having an adventure or shooting any video, so I only took a couple clips, but I also didn't think I'd be going back more than once.
There we go, another early morning. Today I'm taking off to Fort Mojave, pick up another 550. I don't anticipate any troubles. I'm not taking the trailer, just taking the truck today. Got some gas cans, tie downs, carpet in the back. Hoping to be back by lunch. See how this goes. In only 3.5 hours, grabbed this sweet 85 550. It's got some parts. It's a basic 550 though. But the best part of this story, man, the seller, her husband's on some hard times. She's selling some of his things, and they've got more jet skis for sale. I wanted this one, maybe one more that's in there. Might see her again. This was awesome. I'm looking forward to rebuilding this. And if you see my YouTube channel, thank you so much. I made it. 7 hours later, here it is. Now, to unload it by myself, figure out how to squeeze it in here someplace.
So there's a setup for the final 2 trips I made, just to be sure that that repair was going to hold. The lady called me back and wanted to sell me 6 more jet skis, which took 2 trips over 2 days. I had my trailer, and I also threw on a camper shell just to be sure I could contain everything. Of course, at this point, I knew that route like the back of my hand, including where to pull over and dump in more gas. Probably would have made it, but I was real close to E, so let's just be safe, put some fuel in here. I'll top the cans back up in town. Also gotta pee. It's cold out. This is pretty though. I'm right here. The sun's rising right now. The moon's over the mountains there. This mountain pass is cool.
I'll be going slow anyway. Okay, float up. Starting to fall asleep. I was driving there. Needed to pee, needed some fuel.
Don't believe the mask. It adapts to any life. A perfect sin when reality caves.
All right, good morning. This is my third and final trip up to Fort Mojave. It's 4 in the morning, gassing up the truck here. The microphone didn't record it. The story on this was I bought a jet ski from this lady and started looking around. They had 6 more in there, and I made an offer on a couple of them, but they weren't ready to sell just yet. And then she called me the next day and says, hey, I got 6 more, come and get them. So threw a number at her and she accepted it. So I took a trip yesterday, picked up 4 of them, only 1 engine. So today I'm going back for the last 2 and hopefully a bunch of engines and parts. Oh, it's a 4-hour trip. It's actually like 3 hours and 40 minutes. I can usually get there in 3.5 or so, but stops and peeing and gas and stuff. So it isn't too bad. Should be back home about 12:30. All right, let's get on the road. I don't know what I got. 2-3 engines in here. A bunch of gas tanks, a hand pole to that one. Here's this 86 I got a title on. This whole thing is custom painted all the way underneath too. It's a 440 or a 300. One of these is supposed to be a 300. This will look different once I get home. So this is it. This has been the 3rd trip, 3rd load of jet skis. Truck handled amazing. What a difference new shocks will make, huh? So I'm all gassed up, loaded up. I might move that stuff around in the bed, but I'm gonna get comfy in the cab and long trip home.
truck doesn't actually need the brake or gas, but I did. Since I'm here, I'll top it up. Just know from experience, I'll roll into town on fumes anyway, so let's gas up. I don't think I'll be able to get all 10 in here. I'll just do 5. That should definitely get me back to town. God, what the hell? All right, back on the road. So we'll start there. There's 4. There's 5 more. There's 3 more. There's 2 more. And there's 1 more. Well, that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate everybody spending a little time with me today. I'll see you on the next one. Later.
In less than a month, I put the front of my beloved Taco into the back of a very lame Hyundai hatchback, effectively ending the 12-year run we had. I was ready to retire the truck anyway, and it did make financial sense to repair it. The rest of the body wasn't much better than the damaged section. The driveline howled, the trans growled, only 2.5 cylinders made compression. It leaked, she squeaked and creaked, and the horn didn't peak. I bought the truck for $2,000 and sold it for $2,500 with 374,000 miles on it, meaning I made a penny for every 5 miles I drove it. Not terrible.
I still believe in goblins. I still believe